Ideology Sleep Mode. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning into the BAMF podcast. I am your host, Mike Lafferty, here today with RPG developer Craig Campbell. Craig, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. Forgive me, I have to play our intro music.
Yeah.
All right, and that high quality musical intro assures you, gentle viewers, that you are in fact watching a high quality podcast, ethically sourced, farm to table podcast, fruity with notes of boldness. And speaking of notes of boldness,
Are we making wine now?
Our podcasts are like fine wine, Jacob.
Ah, yes.
It was a metaphor. See, I'm a writer. I can do that. All right. Anyway, and the guy cracking wise and busting my balls is Jacob Blackman. Jacob, good to have you on board tonight.
Hello.
Always a pleasure.
Yes.
You, sir, are running a Kickstarter.
Yes. Again. I've run a few this year.
The way I've heard you sell this to people is it's kind of like Tron, post-apocalypse. I've also heard the description Tron mixed with Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, there's elements of that. The initial pitch that I always threw out at people was Tron meets Mad Max.
Mm-hmm.
So you're playing characters who are programs living in a computer world a la Tron, but the computer is crashing. And perhaps for the last time, this is, as far as they're concerned, the apocalypse. In the game, it's referred to as the collapse with a capital C. So everything's falling apart. The old rules are out the window. Like all these programs that were doing their jobs and kind of functioning and everything, keeping the system running, don't have to do that anymore. There might be NPCs that are out there taking advantage, trying to secure resources, putting others under their thumb, all that sort of thing. You got any chaos that you can kind of think of that might be associated with an apocalyptic situation. And then on top of it, like all this computer stuff that's kind of through and through woven into it. And there's monsters and weird system hazards and all sorts of other fantastical stuff.
Cool.
So NPC 1%ers who are stockpiling, despite the fact that their world is literally not going to exist anymore. So why bother stockpiling? Political commentary.
Well, it also depends on how you choose to play the game. Taking a page from computer games, there are 3 modes to play. You can play easy mode, hard mode, or hopeless mode. And in easy mode, the collapse begins and it kind of levels off at like your Mad Max level. Everything is chaotic and the old society is gone. And then in hard mode, the apocalypse is happening and it's going to wipe everything out. There's going to be an end to everything, but the characters can stop that. They can prevent that from happening. And then in hopeless mode is what you were referring to, Jacob, where it's the apocalypse is coming, it's all going to end, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I normally prefer a little more upbeat games, but I can see where some people might enjoy such a thing. I also see a lot of from what I'm looking at, a lot of good elements from like a show called Reboot. Not known by some, but loved by many, where basically you're playing programs in a computer and who are trying to protect it from the bad guys who are viruses and stuff like that. And I could see elements of that in here.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched Reboot back in the day. We were talking just before we started talking on the show about nostalgia movies and TV shows and things like that. And Reboot is definitely one of those for me. I even went back and rewatched some old episodes when I was working on this to kind of remind myself. And I was like, I remember the overall of everything, but like it was so long ago that it's like I didn't remember specifics at all. It's like I remembered, there's dot and hexadecimal and some of the characters and the general theme of the show, but then like, oh yeah, like in this episode is about like, wow, I completely forgot about this. Like I kind of forgot what the animation really looked like. I remember what the characters looked like in my head, but I forgot what the animation looked like. It's early computer generated, for television animation, but it was cutting edge at the time.
Yeah, the premise looks neat. I like the I like the whole Tron concept of it, especially with especially being able to draw on all sorts of different things, so you can basically make your program anything you kind of want, whether it's like it's a maintenance program to upkeep the computer, virus protection, data collection. It's really neat how versatile this could be, and given the appearance of this digital world, how unique you could make the characters look.
Yeah, it was like a bigger challenge than I think I've had probably with any game before, where I was really kind of creating a world from the ground up. Like just now, there's references to draw upon. There's Tron and Reboot and all the things that we talked about, and some other things, but like really creating it from the ground up, and getting with the artist and working out with Dan Morrison, the artist, like what should this look like, how should the apocalypse be represented, like what does it look like when things start to break down, and just developing this whole world that like I haven't seen a lot of games out there that kind of depict the world inside of a computer in this sort of a way, other than usually if the world inside of a computer is depicted, it's a full-on like human world simulation, but with some tweaks and stuff. It's like Matrix with like some stuff that's underlying it, and weird stuff happens and stuff. Whereas this allowed us to kind of go go a little wild and have a little fun with program types that look very, very different. They're verging on kind of looking a little bit robotic, which is not an accident. But then these really bold colors and stuff that Dan does, it was a lot of fun to develop. And there was a whole process. Like, this is very different from anything I've done before.
Yeah, this is a big departure from Capers, which always kind of had one foot in recognizable heist genres, heist movie films. But yeah, you've got some amazing art I've been trying to show off here. Looks really cool. Who's your artist?
Dan Morrison. He's a Brit. He does this he's done a bunch of work on other board games and card games and RPGs. He did some work on Lancer, and his style is like his dominant style. He does other stuff, but are these like really bold colors with like strong lines, and we just kind of found the level of detail and the level of kind of computeriness that we could make it happen while still being recognizable. That was one of the challenges, was creating a world that still had recognizable elements. There's still people and buildings and vehicles and landscapes and so forth, but making it like not just look like photorealistic or even close to photorealistic all the time, letting it be computery.
Cool. Congratulations on funding. You have funded. How's Kickstarter going for you?
Good. Yeah, we funded. The initial goal was to just kind of get the core of the book. Like, here's the slimmest version. I've done this before. Like, here's the slimmest version of the game, what I feel is like a complete game. And then we'll have some stretch goals, and we'll add pages to it and beef up the book, and then we'll eventually, hopefully, fingers crossed, I think we have a good chance of hitting the level where I can go from this being a print-on-demand book to actually getting an offset print run, and so people will get like a fancy schmancy book with sewn binding and like glossy paper and much deeper, richer color, which is the thing that I want the most. I want Dan's artwork like to really shine from a printing press printing of the book rather than a print-on-demand, because print-on-demand, for all of its convenience, is a high-end laser printer. So the color, you can't get quite as deep and rich of color through that kind of printing.
Yeah, my hat is off to you, sir, because I got to tell you, as a publisher, I have been scared to death to do offset print runs, just with all the fluctuation in print costs and shipping costs. So,
Oh yeah,
kudos.
I got nailed. I found I got quotes on this book 3 separate times, and each time the paper cost went up. Each time the cost of the the per unit cost went up. And I should, if all goes well, be able to get in the print order set before the printers start. Because what happens is the printers, my understanding is, usually put out a projection at the end of the year in December, what they expect. They'll raise costs. They'll raise prices again based on expectations of paper shortage and so forth, and labor and so forth, as they project for next year. So I should be able to get the print run going on the current quote rather than having to have that bump up again.
Oh, so you could lock it in at the price they quoted. That's good. That's cool. You have classes in this game.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
That's kind of cool. Looking at that part of the Kickstarter. So, are these analogous to warriors, wizards, thieves, or this is a whole new genre, so that you can't really make one-to-one comparisons, can you?
There's a little bit of that. Basically, you've got 7 program types, and they're described on the Kickstarter page. You can see them, and just like as an example, there are ops, who are they're programs who are part of operating systems and background processes and the things that keep the computer running, the guts, right? The stuff that you never see happening. And then on the there's also what are called SAVs, S-A-V, which is they are scanning and virus protection and firewall. So they're sort of your warriors. Ops are sort of your administrator types. And then there's the other program types. They all have kind of their core features. And in fact, each of them has like 2 standard features and then a number of optional features. And those are always unique to them. Those are like class abilities. And then there's what are referred to as upgrades in the game, which are abilities that anybody can take. So you'll always have some things that your program type does that only you can do.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. How's the playtesting been?
Playtesting went pretty well. It was mostly fine-tuning stuff because this is it's what I call the roll track system. It is the system that was developed initially for Good Strong Hands, which, as it turns out, is like a beloved system because it actually got nominated for 2 Ennies this past year. We talked about that a while back.
We did, yeah.
And so this is just kind of an iteration of that system where I've just kind of tweaked a couple things about it. The core of the system is still the same, but there's a few adjustments that have been made in order to fit the genre and kind of what this game wants to do, as opposed to the fantastical kind of fantasy game of Good Strong Hands.
Cool. And Frigman co-host Walter Billiard is cracking wise in the comments, saying, "Crap, that Craig was going to fix that old Pentium 2 laptop I had."
Yeah, good luck.
Good to see you, Walt. I didn't know you were free tonight. I would ask you to co-host. I figured Walt has been busy as a novelist. I always just assume that if it's a weekend, Walt is busy somewhere drinking coffee and writing words. So
He usually is.
yeah. Well, hey, so you've almost doubled your goal, and you've got how much time left on this?
Oh, nearly a month from the time we're talking.
Wow.
It's still, it just launched this past Tuesday, so it'll go for 4 weeks and 2 days. Through the Thursday.
Wow. Okay, so you're at
end of October.
You're in a really good spot then.
Yep, long run. Well, we're in that middle run, right? How Kickstarters are. It's going to be a slog.
Yeah.
But we'll punch through a stretch goal every now and then, and hopefully get everything where we want it to be. And get books out to people relatively quickly. It'll be a little slower than I've done some small games that that I send out like right away. I get done right away, but this is going to have a hopefully, fingers crossed, a print run associated with it. So that'll push things by a few months because the printers. I'm not the only customer.
Yep. It's always something. All right. Well, let's talk stretch goals just real fast while we're on the subject. Funding. Obviously, $5,000 you're funded. The book Embiggening Protocol. I like that. Function unlocked. You add more program upgrades, cool things your character can do, and some additional fun, engaging locales in the system, the world your characters live in. And the next stretch goal. is Book and Beginning Protocol 02, or $11,000, which I would be shocked and amazed if you don't hit that at this point. You're kind of tiptoeing up to it, but you're less than $2,000 from there now. So,
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, and there'll be a couple more of those, and then we'll kind of get to the point of the print run happening, and then I hope I have dreams of putting together a Roll20 module for this as well, because it seems like a computer game, game based about around programs in a computer should absolutely have a Roll20 module. Especially given that the map for the world is dynamic and changes in ways that only computer game world maps can change.
Yeah, it seems almost a natural fit for Roll20 or some other VTT, right?
Yeah, so that's one of the hopes, and then there's a couple other things that maybe we'll be able to do as well.
Okay, cool. So you are also, if I'm not misspeaking, you are the president of the Indie Game Developer Network, correct?
That is correct. I am.
Okay. And you guys have something going on right now, a diversity sponsorship. I've got the link scrolling below on our very high quality scrolling banner at the bottom of the screen. It's tinyurl.com/IGDN diversity. Let me share the page. Can you tell us what's up with this?
Sure. This is the 9th year of the diversity sponsorship. We run it every year around this time to seek out game designers in the tabletop realm, as well as LARPs, who are from marginalized backgrounds and just don't have access as easily to some of the resources and mentors. And this we reach out. It's international. We get people involved from other countries, as well as the U.S. And people who are interested and are from a marginalized background and are a game designer apply. There's a selection committee that goes through, and we award whatever it is we're awarding that year to the recipients. For many years, we covered costs of people going to Metatopia, which is a convention in New Jersey in November of every year. It's specifically a game designer convention. It's all about play testing and networking and panels about learning how to get the game made. Of course, with COVID, Metatopia has not happened for a few years in person. So during that time, the IGDN decided, okay, well, rather than using the money raised to pay for those things for Metatopia, we'll just put the money into the hands of the recipients. Here you go. You know what this is useful for. You know what you can, you've certainly got expenses and things that you can spend the money on. You can hire editors and artwork and get things printed and replace your computer, whatever it is, like it's money for you to help you make your games.
So it's a concrete way to encourage new voices in the gaming space.
Yep, exactly. And then on top of the monetary award, there's a number of other non-money type things. Where each recipient who wishes will have a 3-month mentorship with a member of the IGDN, where they will meet on a monthly basis, and they'll probably emails back and forth, whatever it takes, and that mentor will just help them with whatever it is they're looking to do, whatever they need help with. There's also industry pro one-on-ones, which are very focused things where we get people who are well-known, name in the industry, who have particularly who have specialties, things that they're very, very experienced in. To talk to them about stuff. We'll help organize playtesting. There's a couple other things. If you go to the page, there's a list of things that the recipients will have access to, depending on their needs. And again, it's they can use as little or as much of those benefits of the sponsorship as they want. So we also have there's an application that's circulating around. If you look for IGDN, it's I think IGDN online on Twitter, or just Google it up. If you follow the Twitter, you can find it. If you go to the GoFundMe, the application is in the GoFundMe. If you go to igdnonline.com, the website, all the links are there, and you've got links here as well. So we encourage anybody who fits the bill, who thinks that they might be able to benefit from some of the things we're offering, to apply, and we'll see how that all shakes out. end of October. Basically, the fundraiser will run through the end of October. The applications will close on, I think it's the 9th of October, whatever that Sunday is. It's the second Sunday in October, a week and a day from today, at which point the selection committee will start figuring out and start going through applications.
Cool. And because I am an excellent host and this is a high quality podcast, I have made a tiny URL, so it's easy to get to that link for the application. It's tinyurl.com/IGDN application. And what's the deadline for signing up for that?
That's the second Sunday of October. I don't have my calendar in front of me. That's is it the 9th? What's the date today? Today's the 1st, 2nd. Yeah, it'll be the 9th.
Okay. Yeah, I think you said that. I apologize for making you repeat
That's
yourself.
okay. You were probably getting that URL up.
Because I'm a great, conscientious, and courteous
You are
host.
your own producer, which is,
I am my own producer, yeah.
a forgivable offense.
I tried to get Jacob to do it, but he doesn't want to move to Colorado and live in my spare room. So alas, I have to do it myself. So
You would have to pay all my moving expenses.
Well, sell all your stuff.
No.
See, now that's the problem.
All my moving expenses.
I've seen your pictures. You have a lot of stuff, dude. Just your Masters of the Universe collection is substantial, museum quality. So, and for folks who might be interested, saying, "Hey, I'm an indie game developer. How do I find out more about the IGDN?" I'm guessing the first step in that journey is igdnonline.com.
Yep.
Where we can find out what you guys are all about and apply if we are into that.
Yeah, there's a link there for applying to that as well. The application process doesn't take long to go through. Basically, there'll be, I think, a little back and forth with the membership coordinator, and then a questionnaire, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't take long for the questionnaire process the application process to go through. It's not one of those things that like you won't find it out for 5 months. Like if you apply, you'll find out fairly quickly.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Once again, that's igdnonline.com. And you can do the application for the diversity grant at IGDN, tinyurl.com/IGDN application. Hit the banner up right now. And if you want to donate, the GoFundMe is easily found at tinyurl.com/IGDN diversity. So, Craig, it's always a pleasure having you on, sir. Anything else we want to mention before we wrap it up?
If you enjoy content like this, please support the BAMF Patreon.
Yes, please do.
And give us money so we can give you more, awesome music and better guests and
maybe a producer,
a new producer, and I can move in with Mike and.
I got a nice tree house out back, Jacob. I'll let you come in when it gets snowy. It'll be all right, man. We could have a zip line and crossbows.
Oh, that'd be spectacular! Like as the show opens, you could zip line in.
We got a Patreon. It does help the channel out and helps bring more awareness to the channel and everything we're doing in the future. So
you can also buy us a coffee because we run on caffeine, and that's co-fi.com/BAMFpod. And we appreciate your support. So once again, thanks for your time, Craig, Jacob. Always a pleasure talking to you guys.
That's right.
We will catch you next time on the BAMF podcast.
Go back, Code Warriors.